Good Monday, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on where you are in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, or mostly gentlemen, welcome to another Monday live stream. Always good to be back with you guys. Always fun to be here with you guys. You always have some interesting question to ask. No matter what we're talking about, could be the console, could be live sound. Sometimes we go into life or whatever. Cheers. Thank you for being around. I'm gonna say hi to David. What's up, David? Where are you from? Let me know in the chat, guys, where you're from. I'm gonna say hi to Andy. Hey, Andy. Always a pleasure to have you around. How's it going with the file that I sent you? Did you find any bug? Was it me? Was it a one-time bug only? Rolf, is it Vasil? Hi. Pancho. Good to have you back, Pancho. Good morning. Where are you in the world, Pancho? I don't remember. I think you're in the state, right? I mixed up people sometime. I know I have my regular, you guys come here often, but yeah, St. Louis. There we go. St. Louis. I don't think I've ever been to St. Louis. Maybe one day. Good to have you guys around. Just to give you a little, why I'm calm today is because I had a couple day of break. I'm on day 4 of 5 of consecutive non-working, and it's been months since I took some time off, like a real 3-day off and relax. But I'm happy to be here with you and firing the machine again. But it feels so good. This only taking an hour or 2 of my day is just a kick that I need to get back out there, because I'm leaving for a couple days. I'm gonna leave for New Brunswick with a band. If you guys know Canada a little bit, we're gonna do a couple hour of driving, something like 12 or 18, across New Brunswick, from Montreal to New Brunswick and back, to go there and do some really cool show. So this is why I took some time off, because I knew it will be rough for me to be out there for 5 day, 3 show and 5 day, 1 traveling, 3 show and 3 day, 1 traveling back. This is the life of the sound engineer. This is the life that I choose, and I'm really happy for it. Who else told me where he was from? Luxembourg, Andy? Okay, for those of you who don't know, I send out a file to Andy, who use my show file to recall a scene that caused a bug for me live. I don't know why. I turned on the console and it created the bug. So after some investigation, I think it was a one-time. I tried around 3 hour, with the X32 rack and the DL251 because it couldn't reproduce it. Okay, so maybe it's a one-time off. Or the way that, this time the sync came up on the console or not, who knows. But as long, I'm happy to report that as long as I can turn off the console and turn it back on again before the show even started, because I could not get anything in the rack working, so I could fix that really quick. I knew right away that something was not operating correctly. Turned that off, restarted, and I'm good. Hey, Chris. Why would you retract your message? Hi, Chris. Chris, who is a member, by the way. If you guys like what we're doing here on every Monday, and you want to support me in what I do, try to become a member or a super member. If you become a super member, it gives you 1 hour of free one-on-one conversation time with me every month. So if you guys want to have something that we look together, actually I have a show file that I need to look for, Jonathan. I'm sorry, really busy. Even if I took some time off, I need to do that. Actually, I'm going to do that after this live stream. I'm going to come in on live stream. Jonathan, I'm on my... I swear, I look at your show file right after. It's not that I don't want to do it. I just want to make sure I do it right. So I want to take some time to do it. But I'm set up. I'm going to have all my stuff here. Maybe, you know what? I'm even going to do him a video of what I think of his file. So there we go. what I was saying is, there we go. If you want to support me in a little bit, become a member or a super member of the channel. It's helped me support what I'm doing here. It gives a purpose to what I do, because as much as I like you guys, I need to pay my bill. Yeah, sad truth. Okay, enough with me trying to ask you to like and subscribe. Got you there. Let's move on to some question. Actually, no, Vasil, I'm from Romania, but you live in the UK. Okay, beautiful place. I wish I could visit the UK one day. David, love the wing. Great board. I love running it. Enjoy watching your video and the show every time. Oh, thank you very much, David. Really appreciate the fact that you take some time off. You guys have no idea how weird it is to just firing up a camera in your basement, showing something to somebody and people reacting to it. Greatest feeling in the world. Seriously. Oh, you're in Connecticut. You're connecting the dot in Connecticut on a gig. Enjoy your gig, Chris. Let me know how it's turning out. Can you leave? You busted your mixer. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Hey, Nev. Hello from Israel. Welcome. Well, hello from Canada again. Even if I'm having a not so Canadian mug right now. What else? Hello from Czech Republic. Hey. Hello from Canada. Is it Radim? I probably say it wrong. Hello from Nigeria. You guys are from all over the world. It's crazy for me to do this. It's so good to connect with people. It's so good to connect with people, period. I don't need to add anything to this. So good to connect with you guys from all over the world. We're all joined here with a common point. We all like our console. We all want to learn. I want to learn. I learn as much as you guys when I'm doing these live video. Actually, even more, if I could say so. Always a pleasure to see you guys from all over the world. It's just blowing my mind that we can get together so easily in 2022 from video conference. You guys just write me in the chat and we can have a conversation or some kind of conversation or interaction together from all over the world in seconds. So great. Thank you, YouTube. What else? What's going on? What did I miss in the chat? When will you make a video with the Midas DN series? What are we talking about? Are we talking about Stage Connect? That's probably going to be delayed for a while. Because, yeah, I was expecting some email and it didn't happen. So, if I want to do something on the Stage Connect stuff, I would have to buy it myself at full price. And right now, I don't have that much of a need for it. I mean, physical use, because I still can do a video, but I don't have much of a need for something like that. Maybe in the future, if I ever need or have a real reason to buy it other than just do an unboxing video and review it, I will do Stage Connect stuff really soon, but as soon as I can justify it. But for now, I have no way to justify it, and I cannot just spend that much money on something that I will put in a corner and not really use. So I'm debating a little bit. David, you should look into the Pro Z case for your wing. Great for taking on the road with you, and you don't have to carry, just rolling it. The thing is, I'm pretty sure that case is great, but it would not fit in my smart car. If you don't know what I'm talking about, take a look at my latest vlog, or one of the vlog that I did lately. I put in my smart car my wing, my DL251, my X32 core, mic stand, my mic case, and all the XLR cable for the gig that I was going to, but I can fit that in the back of my smart car. As much as I would love to have, you know, those, is it the Pro X case that is just popping out in the console, just like this? I would love to have that, but I would need like a truck to carry that around, and it doesn't make sense. Right now, it's not the best case ever, I'll be honest. I still need to do a video about that also. Maybe I'll put that on the list with a studio tour, because I promised that I would do a studio tour and I didn't. Okay, I will try to, I was about to say, I'll try to do as many videos as I can today, but no, I have, actually, life story. A friend of mine gave me a call the other day and said that he he wants to have his band in a rack, you know, having all his wireless, all his patch with a split snake, and just go on a stage, bring one case, bang, it's there. The drum, loon, is there. If you don't know what a loon is what we usually, you know, take a bunch of XLR together, tape them and label them so you can have like your full drum kit, you know, your kick, snare and everything, and all the cable. When you uncoil that cable, all the cable land at the right spot roughly, so you can just like unroll one cable, plug all your drum mics, roll back one cable, put that in the case and carry it away. One of my friends wants to do this, and he asked me if I have, by any chance, a wireless antenna distribution that is doing nothing. So I actually do. I used to have one from my, from back in the day when I had a bunch of ULXD, no, not the D, the ULXP wireless. I used to have like 20 of those that I was using on rental, in and out. And one of the leftover thing from this was that I have a antenna distribution with the big paddle. So I'm gonna go after the live. I need to go to his place and install that. So maybe after I will do a couple video for you guys. But trust me when I say I want to do a video, it's just I don't have time. But I will try to make more time in the future. In the near future, I want to focus more on YouTube. I want to focus more on what we're doing here. A little less not so cool live shows, boring event. And I want to make a small transition. So that's it for now. Gotta close that live segue here. Let's go back on track. Okay, Chris, I see that you prefer the green delay. Wondering why that is. I'm not going to finish your question, I'm going to say, because it's really close to the one on the X32 and I'm used to it. Not that I preferred it, it's just because I know my way around. There's probably better. I like the other delay with the repeat control. I like it too. But what I don't remember is... Okay, hold on, Chris. Let me finish your sentence. Tried the green one this past week and mixing a festival and wasn't feeling the love. Okay, there we go. Let's go into the console. Let's go into our FX rack. And let's add some fun with delay. What can I use? This rack. I'm gonna change that to a delay. And I'm gonna guess here we're talking about the Ultra Tap. I'm gonna insert that on my microphone so we can both hear it. This one. Hey. I'm gonna put the effects mix to 0 just so we can talk. What I don't like about it, it's only on one side. When you have, you know, the repeat and hey, it goes from left. It goes from left to right. Please tell me, guys, just to make sure that what you hear in the stream is stereo, that you guys have the stereo spectrum going to you. Otherwise, I'm doing this pretty much for nothing. But I just want to make sure this is good. I'm gonna go in my routing. No, not this one. I'm gonna go USB out 1 and 2 is main left and right. Yes, it's stereo. Thank you very much for confirm that, Andy. I really appreciate it. Let's go back to the effect. No, not this one. Let's go back here to this effect. Come back here. There we go. The fact that you have a lot of repeat available, they can control the amount of repeat, is a really cool feature. But I would like this delay to be ping pong. So it gives, you know, something like this. It gives a feel of depth. It's always moving like this instead of going like this. When you go from left to right, I'm just gonna put a little bit, just so it's not annoying, or just enough. And we're gonna try to play with it. Hey, usually I cut down on the repeat. Something like 2K, something like, yeah, it could be 400. Yeah. 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 Oh, it's affecting the repeat. Hold on. There we go. Okay, the pre-delay is working. Okay. Oh, do we have a reverb into this? If I have something in the diffusion? Hey? Yeah, there's a bit of reverb there. I like it, but, you know, I'm not a fan of that because what I prefer to have as an effect... What? Can you guys hear me? Okay, good. Usually my preset for this one is something like this. Hold on. Time, feed, yeah, 35 is good. Low cut, around 250. High cut, around 2.5K. I just want to have the mid-range, you know? The mid-range. Repeat. The mid-range. Repeat. And the secret is in the offset. Hey. You see? It's not only one side. And actually, never try the other way around. Okay. Hey. Offset. And on the X32 one, you could even choose to have different patterns. So you could go like ta on one side, and the other side just go like ta. So it creates a deeper field, I believe. It's only one side. Hold on, what are we talking about? Hey. The repeats are bouncing. They're a little louder on the right. Oh, sorry. You probably can't understand what I'm... They're a bit louder on the right, but I believe if you listen to the repeat after that, they are stereo. You can hear them on the left and the right. The first time is harder on the right, but after it's just slowly getting back. The padding is back and forth. There you go. Hey, yeah. I believe it's more stereo to me. Both are good. It's just a matter of preference at that point. I prefer to have this one versus this one, and they... Hey. Hold on, what do you say? Try the knob on the other delay next to repeat. Okay, hold on. The width? Oh, yeah. Okay, hold on. Hey. Tweaking out the filter. Hey. It only goes one way. Hey. Okay. Spread. Hey. No, that's too much. Hey. I definitely need to experiment more with it. The only thing, to be honest, is I didn't take time to play around with it. And I tried it really fast, moved on and go like, okay, I will stick to the one that I know I can get good result into. Just my opinion. But I believe they're both good. Put that on your pipe, yeah. Or put that on your plate. If you guys saw The Amazing Mrs. Maisel, put that on your plate. Okay, you got me there, Chris. Yeah, I don't know how to use a delay. Okay, let me catch up with the chat again. I believe I missed some comment here. Let me grab my phone and go back to what you guys were saying. Okay. We're back to Jason. Hey, Jason G. How's it going? Welcome. Hey man, quick question. Let's see when you save a channel as a per preset, say. Bus 1, which is IEM bus, okay. Would it save the channel sent to bus 1 or would it recall the... No. Okay. When you store... Okay, let me show you guys. Library. When we store a channel, it's only taken into consideration these parameters. So basically what you're saving is the full on bus channel, the master bus. You're not saving all the channel send to that bus. This is a feature that I have requested in the past to have the possibility to save a in-ear mix, because honestly it would just make sense to me sometimes to recall like the basic drummer mix or a basic bass player mix or singer mix. But the way the console is working, for now, you cannot do that. I'm sorry, we're not there yet. It's probably gonna come soon. It's a feature. I gave up my point to some people and they all agreed that when you have, let's say, different player. Like I'm doing this all the time. I'm having shows with the same band and, you know, every 5 show, the bass player needs to have somebody else coming in. So, and I'm totally destroying the mix that we already have. The bass player is redoing the same mix that he has before. Instead of only playing around with his bass and everything else being the same, I have to rebalance his mix every time. It wouldn't make sense to at least be really close. I wish we could have a way to save monitor mix, inner mix, but for now, it's not possible. I'm sorry. Okay, now the chat moved too fast. What's going on here? Jason, yes, we answer your question. Okay, from Gucci Dragon, with the wing, what would you suggest for a bass DI? Bass DI signal chain. Bass DI signal chain. Okay, let's take a look at what I have on this preset. Let's go here, and I think I have a bass line. Okay, well, I don't really have really have anything here. Well, let's build a bass preset. Hear me out. This is what I usually do. It's a case per case scenario here. What I'm gonna do may not really apply well to what you're trying to do. I'm gonna use this as a preset. Everything could change. So, usually, the first thing that I like to have on my bass is a little bit of distortion. I'm talking about a tiny bit of distortion. I'm putting the drive to 125 because I want the console, the plugin to saturate, and I mix it between 2, 3, up to 10% of overdrive in the signal. This is what I like to do. Right now it's off. I'm gonna turn it on. This is the first thing that I do. After that, we have an EQ. I usually start with a low cut around 87. If I want to get something a little lower, I'm gonna go up to 40. Sound is not matte but sometimes knowing frequencies and note reference, you can tweak a couple things. I believe 85 or 87 hertz is a E note. So if your band is tuned to standard, the lowest note that your guitar could play or bass could play is 85 or an harmonic of 85 hertz. So if you want to have a really clean bass, somewhere around 85. If your band is tuned a little lower, you can drop that maybe to 80. Take your time. Find a frequency that makes sense. Sometimes spectrum analyzer can be helpful. You ask the bass player to play his lowest note, usually the big string open, and I don't want to say look. You listen, you look, you have a visual indication of what that note is, and you just want to cut down on the low harmonics that you're just not going to need. It's just going to be mud, background noise. You don't want to have that. Also, sometimes on bass, I put a high cut. Where can I get a high cut? Not that that's a tilt EQ. I don't want that. In the settings, do I have a settings? Shelving only? Okay. Sometimes I do something like this. Between 2 and 4K on the bass if I don't want to have too much definition, if I want to leave space to, to have some. Okay, let me finish this. But I want to get rid of like the high end, the really like clicky sound of the bass string clicking on the pickup or frets. If I want to get rid of that, I'm just gonna have a high pass or a low cut or a shelf and cutting down on the high frequencies there. After that, compressor, usually 1176. I make sure that every note gets compressed and I send out the output. I crank the input, so I make sure every note is compressed and the output is just the final amount of volume that I want to have in my mix. So usually minus 18 is the starting point, and after that it goes between wherever here. Usually I don't need to crank that up really high, so it's somewhere around 32 up to 21 depending on how loud I need the bass to be in the mix. After that, insert. What I like to do if I want to go crazy, I'll take an empty effects and I put a chorus on the bass. Where is the chorus? Is it on the other? Sorry, I cannot see really well with my camera right now. Do we have a chorus here? No, we don't. It's on the other page. So I would need to use another block for that. Let me do it this way. Bass here. I need to change the rack for that. Okay, I need to change the insert point then. So no, this one, I don't want this, I want stereo chorus. I put a stereo chorus on my bass just to give it some stereo spectrum. It's only gonna be affecting the high frequencies of the bass, so I can say nothing under 250 is going to be affected by the chorus with a low cut and the high cut on it. And this is what I usually do on a bass. Okay, back to what you were saying, Gucci. My problem has been a lot of noise with passive DI. I'm going to guess here it's not, it doesn't have to do with the bass DI. It's usually the instrument that is not loud enough. An active box will help you get less noise from your preamp, but if the instrument has a really low output and your player is not playing really loud, there's no miracle to be made here. You cannot create something that doesn't exist. If the noise floor of that instrument is lower or is higher or as high as the note being played, that's what you get. You cannot create something that doesn't exist. That would be my suggestion, is to make sure that the instrument is good and the signal that this instrument or amplifier is sending you is good. What I like to do sometimes is, if I have a bass amplifier with a effects loop, I insert the DI into that effects loop. So I'm taking the send from the rack, amplifier, whatever. Take the send, send it into the DI, use the true output from the DI and send it back into the return. That way I get the amplifier preamp to help me get a strong signal. Sometimes the color also is fun to have from those preamp. So I'm gonna suspect here if your problem is a lot of noise from passive DI. Either you're using really bad DI, like I don't know what. The radial stuff is usually fine. I'm a huge not the radial stuff. The Digitech DI or Whirlwind DI usually are fine. Now I bought myself a Pro DI. I showed it the other day. I bought myself a Pro DI from Radial, the Stereo JDI. Really cool DI. I love it. Maybe I would suggest you to go this way. Get a good DI if that's your problem. I hope that can help. I'm sorry. I don't have all the answer. I just do as best as I can. I hope that's going to be your thing. That's going to fix your problem, but I would definitely look at the bass player or the way you get that signal from the bass player. Maybe that's the problem more than the DI. Who the hell is texting me? I should not be reachable. My computer is in silent mode, or should be. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. Let me catch on with the chat. You guys are really popping in that chat today. You give me a hard time. Keep going. Keep going. I just want to make sure that I see everything. Okay, hold on. Okay, where am I? You guys ask too many good questions. Okay, the bass DI. Okay. Yes, Jason, your chat are public. Okay, Firm Redeem, could you please do a summary of the effects that are good for live performance? Yeah. But the way, no offense here, but the way you're asking me your question, this is really vague. What do you consider an effect? I can talk about delay, I can talk about reverb as much as you want. But maybe you mixed up effect and dynamic processing. Dynamic processing will be everything that has to do with gate, reverb, and EQ. Effect, per se, time-based effect, as I like to call them, just to make sure nobody get mixed up. Time-based effect, like chorus, reverb, delay, flanger. Basically, everything that you're gonna have. Most of the stuff that you're gonna have here. Except the stereo, well, yeah, the stereo pitch too. I'm gonna put it in there. This is the kind of stuff that you add to your experience, to your mixing, to your final, it's icing on the cake. Make sure that you have the bases of your cake solid before you put whipped cream on it. There we go. So this is the question, I'm sorry, is a little too vague. Try to be a little more specific, because I can dive into this for an hour and it's not going to answer your question. Okay, Gucci, what is your question about the bass input? Oh, Chris, you tried the blue verb. You tried a blue verb on drum this weekend. Yeah, I like that. I like that plate. The blue plate. Really cool reverb. Insert doesn't load properly with channel preset. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what you're talking about here, Gucci, but let me know. Jason, I have some other weird ones. I'll ask if I can remember them. Okay, show if you have any question that is weird one. I'll do my best to answer that, my friend. Okay, monitor little speaker of the console. Hold on. Let me get you back here. Am I okay? I'm back on my screen. Damn, you guys wrote a lot today. Okay, monitor, a little speaker at my console, plug into monitor, not headphone. Each channel can pick solo, but a headphone. I'm not sure to understand your question here, Jason. You want to have a different solo? You have an option for that when you go on your top left here and on your solo page. You can select A, B, or A and B depending on the output that you want to have. So I would say experiment with the solo section to have your question answered there. You probably need to venture that way. Okay, sorry, your question. To have all the channel to both solo at the same time, you need to press AB. That should give you both your solo output. Archer, hello from Ukraine. Hey, hello from Canada. Wanted to ask you how to make level of signal on YouTube stream. Okay, all the indicators are in both mixer and program are okay, but the sound on YouTube is still too quiet. Okay, well, before we go on, Archer, tell me, do you think that my level right now is good? There is no post-processing here, it's just from the console, and I'm sending out to 0 dB into my streaming software. If you tell me that this is fine, I'm gonna get back to it. I wanna read some more questions. Okay, my level is perfect. Okay, good. Let's take a look at what I've done on my main out. Or actually, before that, let's take a look at my microphone. My signal is strong coming in. I can, just speaking, I almost always hit the yellow bar here, so meaning that my VU level is good. After that, I gate my stuff to avoid background noise, like this. If I shut down the music, you guys will hear. I make sure that I have a good, strong signal from my channel. I clean it up with a gate. EQ it a little bit. Then compression. I'm compressing, especially my voice for these live stream, really hard. And with the output level on that compressor or makeup gain, I make sure that I get a really good signal going to my main out. So if you build your mix that you have a lot of juice, a lot of volume, a lot of energy to send out to your main, this is where you start your mastering process for your live, and this is what I'm doing. Wrong master bus. There we go. So I have a small compressor here on my main. I'm just barely compressing a little bit. I'm taking out just a tiny bit of peak from my signal. Make sure, keep in mind that my signal is already compressed, processed. I apply a bit of compression to it, and I give some more volume with the, oh, you guys cannot see it, but you can see it here, with the makeup gain from that compressor. I'm compressing my signal a little bit to bring it a little more tighter, less dynamic. After that, my friend the limiter, which is going really loud today. I can drop it a little more. I try usually to compress 3 dB at max. So right now I'm going too loud for what I usually teach. So I'm gonna drop down to 6. Okay, I start to hear it a little bit. I hear a little less dynamic volume in my signal. I'm just gonna bring back the background music. Okay. So what I do is I try to, with my limiter, to have a 3 dB of limiting at max, and I send out my signal, and I can, I'm gonna bump it a little bit. I send out my signal to minus 0.25 dB to my USB interface. This is as loud as I can go without triggering the clip light on anything. Minus 0.25 dB, and I make sure that my signal is set. So that my minus 25 dB, 0.25 dB here represent the signal chain all the way. So I make sure that my master out here, my main out is at 0. Usually, I'm gonna fine tune it. There's minus 0.1. There you go. It's fine. Oh, you guys cannot see it because it's too bright probably, but it says minus 0.1 here. I make sure that my signal is as loud as possible without clipping once I compress it, once I limit it, and I send that to my live stream. So this is why I'm getting really loud live stream, because I'm doing a mastering, a homemade mastering straight from the bus. My mix, usually when I'm doing mix for live stream, the mix is built on purpose for that. So I compress a lot, I EQ a lot of low end out, and I compress at different multiple stage of compression. And once I get, you know, that big juicy wave, I send it into a limiter to just clip the top off, and I boost it back up till I reach 0 dB. And this is how I get as loud as anything. That's my trick. This is what I do for mastering or getting loud stuff live. Okay, let me get back to this. And my chat moved. Okay. Hold on. Let me catch up with you guys. Okay. Also, most people use metrics for online feed, but why not use one of the main? They allow mixing separately from. Honestly, I would use the main, because you can have a different level of signal going into that. So you can, let's say that you're doing live and stream at the same time. You can create a different mix that will follow your fader move, but you can create a different level of a mix before you send that into that compressor, before you send that into a limiter. And then you could use, after that, if you want a matrix, if you want to compress a little more or have more plug-in on your signal chain. But usually a compressor and the limiter will do the trick. A little bit of EQ. You know, sometimes if you're doing live at the same time, you probably want to get less low end going into your stream, because you don't have subwoofer to reproduce that at the other end. So a little less low end. Okay. Archer. Interesting, perhaps my main has been between -6 and -12. That's good. This is usually what you want to have your average VU, but you want your peak to be at almost 0. 0 will clip, so you want to be 0.25 dB under 0, and because we're in digital, it's never gonna go more than what you set your limiter to be. You're gonna be all set with that. Put a limiter, basically your mix is needing a limiter. You just put a limiter, try to get 3 dB of limiting, and send that out to 0. It's gonna get loud. Sorry, I cannot keep up with the chat. Man, you guys are too good. Okay, okay, let me read. Esol. Person 1 has his own microphone EQ that match their voice. Perfect. EQ should be tailored by every person, not by a microphone or a preset. You need to EQ for every person because nobody has the same voice and nobody speaks the same way into a microphone. The next day, person 2 used the same microphone but need a whole different EQ. What I just said. How do I save person 1 EQ settings, person 2? Okay, you have 2 options. You either create 2 channel if you want to have the fastest way. You create 2 channel on your console that you copy paste, or actually no, that not you copy paste. You create 2 channel with the same source. So, okay, Actually, yeah, I had that right here. This is my talkback. This is my input 40. And I also, on channel 38, have the same preamp selected for my input, but I have different EQ and different setting on them. But when I speak, it's the same microphone preamp that is assigned to this channel. After the preamplification of the microphone, I just do whatever I want for that person. Sorry, guys. Coffee makes me burpy. Okay. I used to do that on event where I share microphone with people because I don't want to recall channel strip during a show. What I do is I use the same microphone, the same preamp, and I will sometimes compensate the gain with trim and everything just so I can set my gain for the person that uses the most or the loudest one. And after that, if the other one is quieter, I just bump it a little bit with the trim. And I set my EQ and I set my compression differently depending on the person that is there. Good thing, you're doing great. If you tell me that, it's because you're doing really good with your here. After that, the other way would be to do a preset recall. So because you're not doing that in the same show, it's 2 different days, the way that you explain it to me. What you could do is create a library, create a channel. So you basically take a channel. I'm going to use my channel 40 here, and I'm going to just save everything here. I want to save the connection. I want to save the custom control, the everything. Just select everything, press save, give it a name. Talkback, channel 40. This is what my talkback is. I'm just going to press save. It's in my list. You can create a preset for everybody. Click on your channel, come here, say, there we go. I'm gonna load it into 38. I'm gonna go load. In my channel, oh, now I'm duplicated. My channel has a different preset, or I recalled a preset. Never mind. I just created a preset per channel, and I recalled the preset per channel. You can also do the same thing for your whole console. So if you want to have only create a preset, recall the whole thing, or just recall one channel. But I think the easiest way is just to come here into channel, create a channel preset for the person that you want to have, person 1, person 2, and switch them around. That will be my way to do it. I believe it's the easiest way. Sorry, guys. I believe it's the easiest way to do it. Okay. I have the radial passive, but going to pick up one with the 48 watt. Which one do you want to buy, Gucci? Do you want to buy a J48? If you want to buy a J48, I would say not a bad choice, but I prefer my JDI passive, the green one, not the Pro DI, the JDI. Those are one of my favorite DI. This is what I just bought, a stereo one, because I love it so much. Hold on. Question here from Samuel Charlebois. I'm going to translate that into English for everybody to benefit that. Sorry, guys. Do you have any tricks to create a master tempo for from the user control? As we speak, there is absolutely no master tempo. You would need to tap your effect differently, but I released a video the other day that show also how to have quick access to all the parameters of your console quickly using a custom control and the scroll wheel or the jug wheel, call it however you want. If you assign some effects parameter to your custom control and you hold it down, turn the jug wheel, it will change with the wheel your effect quickly. So you can adjust effect parameter really fast with this. If you want to have tap tempo, SOL. Sorry, you're out of luck. It's not working. No master tap are working as we speak. Maybe in the future it will come if you guys are vocal about this. Pretty sure it's a feature that we can have. Cam Stewart. Is your mic gain to 47 dB? How do you not have ton of signal noise? Impressive. Okay, well, let's take a look at this. I always forget to change camera. Okay, how do we do that? First, I got two things. I got a really good microphone that I don't show that often. Hold on. I'm gonna show you guys what I'm using. Okay, it's probably gonna sound weird, but you guys will hear me from the back of the mic. I'm using a Beyerdynamic MC840. This is a large diaphragm studio condenser microphone. This is one of the flagship microphones from Beyer, so I'll be honest to say that this mic itself doesn't have a lot of background noise. Let me bring that up. Also, I'm using a cardioid parameter, cardioid pattern, pickup pattern, the cardioid parameter, a cardioid pickup pattern on this microphone, so it's really pointing at me. I'm a little bit far from the mic. I'm like 16 inch away, or around 45 centimeter away from the mic. This is why I crank it up loud, because when I put it away a little bit, it's get more of that area of pickup sound, but because I'm far, I need to crank that up. And I try to speak loud. I'm not quiet right now. I speak at loud speaking volume. So this is how I get good gain in. Why? Okay. Why you guys don't hear a lot of background noise is two things. Background music that I just cut. Sorry, I don't speak English suddenly. And a gate or an expander. This is my background noise. I could get away with probably less, or actually, I believe the thing that will give me the most gain with less noise in the console is the preamp, because we're using Blue Midas preamp here, or should use Blue Midas preamp here. Let me turn down the gain just for fun. I could run something like that and have even less gain, but I feel that I'm losing a little bit of volume overall. I could be a little louder. So I have two options. I first either crank the gain up. Let's say that we don't want to do this. How can I achieve as much volume as I did with that is cranking the compressor output until I still come back to a loud volume, but I don't. Can you hear the background noise now? I don't know if that's better than the preamp. Let's go back to 3 here. And let's crank the gain again. Is it the same thing? I could lower my compressor and get even less. I got less. I believe I have less background noise that way. So it's the combination of a couple things. I'm speaking loud. I have a really high quality microphone, and I'm using an expander gate. The expander gate is cutting down on the noise as soon as I stop speaking. It's like a gate with a ratio. This is why you don't hear it cut. Like if I had a gate, you know, when you have a gate on the vocal, it sounds like garbage. If you have an expander on a vocal, then it sounds less like garbage. I'm going to put my threshold down because, you know, when I move around, sometimes I want the mic to pick that up and I want the gate to open. But the reason that you don't hear the background noise with my gain, that is expander and background music. It covers the little noise that I have, and your brain tune it out. That's it. That was the trick. Okay, now I'm back on the screen. How can I cue an MD mic on a live stage where there won't be too much? Can you MD talk? I'm not sure MD talk mic. We're talking about MC talk mic. And how can I EQ the mic? It's that's really it depends on your room. So sorry, I need a little more information on that before I can give you a real answer. I believe Talkback mic in general. Well, Talkback mic. If you're talking about, okay, let me ask you, are we talking about a Talkback mic for a band on in-ear so that they can hear themselves? They can only hear into in-ear. This is... Okay, a bass player directing music on stage. Okay. Two options for you. The radial big shot. This is an on-off switch that you press with your foot. And it will either switch from two line, one microphone going out in two line. It will A-B them. So you have your singing channel and you have your talkback channel. Other option is to use the uptoe gate. It's a little more expensive, but the uptoe gate will do it. Another option is to use a gate or a expander to reduce on the volume when it's not been used. The microphone has not been talked into. It will shut down. And that's about it. Also, what you could do is cut down on the higher frequencies and on the lower frequencies. You know, you clean both sides of the mic a little bit. That could help, but no miracle to be done here. The choice of microphone will also impact that a lot. If you can have something like a Beta 57 or a mic that has a really tight pickup pattern, almost like a shotgun. Yeah, the option 3 is the cheapest one. Yeah, because it's only processing, but the type of microphone that you will use for that will be also a big impact. If you can have a really tight pickup pattern microphone, maybe not a shotgun, but a super cardioid mic, that was going to help you. That's going to help you a lot. Do you have any Beta 57 or Beta 58 that you could put in that spot? Or actually Beta 56 as an even more tighter pattern. You know, the thumb microphone from Shure? If you can get your hand on one of these as a talkback mic, I use those all the time now. Really cool mic. That and Beta 57 on vocal for loud stage. Those are my option. Try mic with tighter pickup pattern. That's gonna help. It's not gonna do miracle, but it's gonna help a lot. Hold on. I just want to catch up and make sure that I don't leave anybody behind. Okay. Jason, Mamix live stream. Could you have one channel actually pre-fader for to send into a bus? No, but you could do a copy for your live stream. But would it mute at the same time? Actually, let me check something. Can we do this? Can we have my channel here to be sent pre-fader? No, we don't have any tap option here. Nope. Sorry, the answer is no. You cannot have to a main bus, a channel pre-fader, I believe. Maybe somebody in the chat can prove me wrong. Does anyone use the panel on the right of the main screen? One with the small screen? I cannot understand the purpose of this section. We're talking about here. Sorry, can we see it here? No, you cannot see it. It's not even in the camera. I don't use that. Honestly, Niv, I don't use that at all. It's there. I believe the ID come from the D-Live console or the Avid stuff that they have a specific channel there. But honestly, I think the Wing could have lived without it. Even if it's, it's give you some good information, like the channel strip detail, the channel strip detail on the screen. It could, you could have that, but the knobs there, never. I just reach for the screen. It's just faster. Instead of, scrolling in between. Yeah, nobody used it. Nobody used that. Hey, Don, how's it going? Welcome. Are you using the channel processing on the right of the console? That section right there? Are you using that? I don't think no one does. This is why I suggested a long time ago that if we were to have a compact version of the Wing, I would like to have this section of the board. Or actually, let me move my coffee. I would like to have this section of the board like on a 19, I don't know how much of a 19-inch that would fit, but I want something like the M32R, basically. I would love to have, my 8-channel or 12-channel layer choice here, maybe more knobs for layer choice, and the custom control under the screen. Maybe if I can have this, but I want the custom control to be here. Or here and 4 more fader here, whatever. Who knows? Is there a way to fast forward the when playing the SD recorder card raw back? I believe so. Samuel. I believe there's a way to do it, but I don't remember how to do it because I don't use that a lot. You have to stop it? There you go. Okay. What are the main effects that you're using for drum, guitar, and bass? Trick question. Are you talking about really effects? I'm going to say reverb. But on drum, not on guitar and bass. On guitar and bass, I just try to leave them alone as much as possible. I just showed you how I set up usually my bass. This is something that I like to do with my bass. If you go back in the stream, you will see that. Bass and guitar. Guitar, I just leave them alone. Low cut. I use a low cut on guitar. Do I have a guitar here? This is a weird EQ. Never really used that. The only thing I do on guitar is seriously something like this, low cut, maybe between 80 and 120. Sorry. Low cut between 80 and 120. And that's it. If it doesn't sound good, I ask the guitar player to move the microphone or change a preset on his amp. I don't do much with guitar. The only thing I do from time to time, and this is with band that I've worked a lot with, in the gate section, I will have a dynamic EQ that I will sidechain with the lead vocal, or I should do it with this channel, that I sidechain with the lead vocal, and I go below, and I dip down the mid. When my lead singer is singing, like I'm speaking right now, I cut a bit of mid-range out of the guitar only when he's singing, and it's come back up. After that, this is the only thing. This is as far as I will go on guitar. Other than that, I just let them be. Move the mic around, ask the player to change his amp. That's what I do. What did I miss? Matt, I look at it once. Yeah, basically. It's a cool idea. The idea is really cool, but it's just like the workflow is so much on the screen that it becomes a little bit difficult to use, honestly. And Oh, you're welcome, Chris. I've gave out this one a lot because I believe it's always, you know, the two things that are difficult to mix together in the PA, the lead vocal and the guitar, and the rhythm guitar, because they take pretty much the same range, and because we're not on the studio settings, we don't have time to EQ, you know, your guitar or to write the guitar all the time. They fight a lot in the mid range of the PA, depending on the PA that you have, of course. They definitely need a wing R version, like a rag version, like just a pop-up screen. And this, yes, I agree with you. I would love to have one, but I would prefer to have the HD96 Air. I believe it's a smaller footprint and probably better processing inside the console. Is there a way for a channel to retain its gain setting when repatching a different input? I believe the gain will stay the same when you change them from channel to channel. I just finally figured out that you can remain channel name when repatching on the wing. Yes, because if you assign, let me show you guys. If you have a bunch of input on your wing and you change them from time to time, you can actually label the input itself. Let's say here, actually I'm gonna go into source. Let's go here, AS50A. I could name this, you know, I named this kick, I named this snare, hat. You can have that, and you can, when you populate these input, like let's say I'm gonna go here on channel 26. Channel 26 is empty. There is no name on it. It's just say channel 26. If I come here and I select AS50A kick, it should say kick, and the channel doesn't say kick. Hold on. Okay, there we go. I have to assign the link customization source. There we go. So right now my channels say kick when I change it. It's if I change it to snare, it will, you know, it will follow. So you assign not your channel, you assign your input. You give a label to your input, not the channel. So when you move them around, you know what is what, and you don't have to change the channel, or you don't have to change the name on the channel to get that right. Hope that it's gonna help some people, if you didn't know that. Also, the source extractor for eliminating noise on your mic. This is basically an expander. It's the same thing. I can do exactly the same thing with not a gate with the source extractor. Depth with 20 dB. I'm gonna put down the threshold a little bit. Fast and peak. There we go. I didn't show you. Okay. But it's basically the same thing. It's an expander. I just need to set the threshold right because it's a different scale. Here it's using analog. So this is basically minus 18 digital, 0 analog. You need to do the conversion if you're old enough to remember having to do those conversion between analog and digital. Could you go quickly over what harmonics and color knobs do on a Soul preamp? Can I? It's a really good question. A harmonics is changing the type of distortion that you have, I believe. We'll need to try it because I don't remember just gonna insert that here. Can I do it? Okay, well, let's do it here instead of doing this. Okay, I'm gonna turn it down. I'm gonna crank the distortion so I can have a little bit of distortion on my stuff. Sorry if it sounds like garbage, but we need to experiment with distortion to know what it sounds like. So that's a lot of distortion. The harmonic, right now we're in the middle. If I go second, I believe it's just the difference in the shape, you know. If I'm hearing correctly, third harmonic sound more distorted than second harmonic. It's just a different type of distortion. And the color, I believe, is just like a tone knob. If I go one way, it's going to be bright. If I go the other way, it's going to be dark. Is it changing anything? Is it changing anything in the type of distortion? Let's go third, full color, no color at all, or as less as possible. Let's go the other side. Can you hear a difference in the distortion? It's there, but it's different if I go color plus. Yeah. This is, I hear a little difference, but honestly, I never care about that enough to play around with it. Because when I use it in a blend, you know, with, like on a bass guitar, something like this, you almost don't hear it. So even if I change the color to something like, you know, third harmonic, really, yes, it will do something, but it's the kind of small detail that I didn't have time to work around with in live situation, and it's not going to change much. Of course, when I'm mixing like into big sound system, like I did that lasso, if you guys saw that short live video that I did, where I could hear the difference between 0.1 dB and a PA, definitely I would dive into this stuff. But for most of us, most of the time, it's not going to change much into a big room that is not treated that well in a sound system, that you're not going to hear a difference between a half dB into it. So I'm sorry, I don't have all the answer for that, but they play around with the color and the type of harmonic distortion that you will get out of that preamp. Maybe you will have that into the firmware release of that plugin. I don't believe what it is. Was it 1.11? Maybe you will have that in there. Sorry, I cannot. I don't have all the answers. I'm doing my best, but I don't have all the answers. What else? Correct me if I'm wrong, when Copilot iPad app doesn't have RTA overlay on the channel EQ page, I would not know. I'm not using the iPad when I'm using my wing. If I'm forced to use an iPad, I'm only bringing my X32 rack, my X32 core with my DL251. When I have a decent place to mix with a console, I'm using the console. Good evening, Stems Recording Studio. Good evening. Good to have you back. Hey, for how long have we been going? An hour 13? Okay, good. This is the kind of stuff. I'm losing track of time, guys. So, did we answer all your questions for today? Come on, talk to me, guys. You guys like send me like 20 messages a minute at the beginning of the stream, and now I'm losing. I have no more question. I keep up with the. I got up with a chat. Did you try 2 mics per channel yet? Kick in, out, snare, top, bottom. No, I didn't. But I asked myself the question if I could do this. Hold on. Let me check something. We're gonna do with panning in the middle. We're gonna do a stereo pair. So let's have fun. We're gonna first build a source. We're gonna build an AES50 source. We're gonna fake this. We're gonna create a stereo and put 17 and 18, and we're gonna say that this is our snare top and our snare bottom. they will have the same gain. They will have the same gain. This is probably something that we don't want to have. But if we can choose between the two, maybe we can adjust the gain and blend between. Okay, hold on. We're gonna change that for it to be AS50A 17 and 18. Okay. This, if we play around with the width and we put the width at 0 and you play around with the pan, I believe, I did not try this for real. You could blend the two mics together. You can choose the amount of blend, but you would be stuck with one gain level for both of them. And if you want to, if you want to phase revert one of the channel, you can't. So the trick to make that work, if you're really stuck, like if you really have to go there, you would need a physical phase reverse adapter on your mic to flip the phase on your snare bottom. You would need to run them at the same gain, which is debatable if it's going to be too much or not, but you could get away with it at the same gain. You set it so that at least it doesn't clip on the loudest one, and after that you can blend with the pan. I believe it would do it. Less than ideal. If you ask me, could you get away with it? I believe so. But if you don't have enough channel, tell me what you're doing. Tell me, I want to know. Stems Recording Studio, can you loop the soundcheck recording? Yes, you can. You can create a loop. I don't know if I ever did. Oh, I don't have anything in there, but you can create a loop. If you put the playback into loop mode, you could create you could loop a song into your virtual soundcheck from an SD card. You can do that. Chris, I like the TC resonator thing on some bass guitar. Are we talking about this? Hold on. Are we talking about this little guy here? Buddy Res. I love that on acoustic guitar. Sounds amazing. Can you control the 48 volt and polarity individually? No, you can't. Don, sorry. This is why you would, sending 48 volt into preamp is not into a mic that is not designed for that is not bad if it's not a ribbon. So I'm gonna say that the chance that you're using a ribbon is low, so it will be fine. But yeah. Okay, here's the one from Rolf. One tip: if you want to find out how an effect in the Wing or X32 work, find out what the original effect is and what did they mod it after or they pay tribute to. Remember, guys, we're talking about Behringer here. They pay tribute to a lot of stuff. Which is fine. I love it. Keep going, Behringer. I love you guys. Explain the width. I thought it was the same thing as panning. No, it's not. Okay. Really interesting one here. I took that for granted, but not a lot of people understand this. Let me go here into main, and we got to play around with the width. If you want to, if you have a stereo source, a stereo input like a keyboard, like two drum overhead, and you play around with the width, I'm gonna show you, and I hope this will visually represent what's going on. Okay, the width is how wide you can actually. This is like not real. You cannot really go to 150% wide, or if it's playing around with the phase, but this is a topic for another day. Let me quickly explain the width. The width is how hard pan your two microphone will be. Because we're using stereo source here, we can play around with width. If we had two different microphone and we played around with pan knob, it will be the same thing as reducing the width if you bring your pan knobs in back in on your close to center. Drum overheads, usually I leave it to 100%. Piano, I leave it to 100%. Stereo guitar modeler, I leave it to 100%. But sometimes on drum overhead, 100% if my mics are too far away, it's too wide. So you want to bring them back the width. So it's the same, instead of being stereo, you're just bringing back the pan in. And after that, if you want to take that and move it from left to right, you take the pan and you move it from left to right. This is the width. This is the how width and pan interact together on a stereo channel. If it was two mono channel, there would be no width. It would only be pan, and you create the width by changing your pan from there to all the way. I hope that answered your question. An inline pad could help. Oh yeah, definitely. If you want to do that snare tricks, yeah, an inline pad. Because sometimes, the mics are too different from one another. Let's say that you're using 257 on a snare top and bottom, using a phase reverse, and you could get away with the same thing if you use the same mic, but less than ideal. Like, you need to be in deep problem to deal with that, because you will also be stuck with the same EQ. So, no. Yes, it would work. I would not do that. You could do this, yeah, for two instruments, like maybe two violins that you would EQ together, that will work. Two guitar mics, that will work. Yeah, but when I'm doing two guitar mics, I'm doing it exactly this way. I'm using the stereo channel, and I'm just moving my mic around. Make sure that they are in phase with the cab. You push them back and forth with the cab until you are in phase. And once I do that, I go like stereo. One mic on one side, one mic on the other. And I move them around until I found good sounding. And usually what I do is I listen to each mic individually. I treat them like two mono sources. Listen to them. Find good spot on the speaker for them. After that, I put a stereo pair, or I listen to them together, flip the phase on one. With the phase flipped, I adjust them so I get almost no signal into headphone, flip the phase back, and I get a really good stereo guitar sound, like stereo. Yes, it's stereo because it's two different source, one left, one right, but it's a mono cab, but it sounds so huge. Even if I don't have any stereo effect, it sounds like you're having a really fat cab sitting in front of you, because left and right is not the same. It gives you perspective. It gives you the impression of width, because it's not the same thing going on the left side and on the right side of the PA. Also, I'm doing the same thing for an artist. Sorry, I'm completely derailing here, but let's go. I'm doing the same thing for an artist that absolutely wants to have floor monitor and in-ears. He likes to have his in-ear, but you want monitor as a backup, and he likes to hear people, but doesn't want to have a crowd mic, because sometimes, you got them in or don't, and you move you move around and you don't have time to turn the crowd mic on or off. So what you do is he's using a pair of monitor and a single ear. What I do is I create a stereo mix with these two. I delayed the in-ear so it's getting back in time with the monitor, because they are sitting 6 to 8 feet away from the singer. I delayed the in-ear a couple feet, so between 5 and 8 feet, depending on how far he is from the monitor. And I'm using the right in-ear one side, and I'm using the monitor as the left. So I'm doing a stereo mix of that, and I create a stereo mix with one ear and one in-ear, one floor monitor and one in-ear. So that's also a way that you can play around with stereo things. But This is advanced stuff, I would say. If you like having a hard time dealing with compression, dealing with panning and everything, don't try to get there yet. Learn the basic. Learn how to get solid channel strips, solid sounding stuff on your console, and after that, explore with acoustics, delay, panning. But first, learn how to get good gain structure, good EQ, good compression. After that, you can evolve into the next step, which is playing around with the perspective, what we perceive as human and sound. Totally another debate. Okay, let's go back on track. What's going on in the chat? Can you mono a stereo channel? Yes, if you are turning your width to 0. Both microphones are going center, Chris. X saturator is the SSL warmth. So if anybody wants to have information on the SSL warmth, Google the X saturator from SSL. You will have the list of all the control and what they do. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing or really close. Okay. When do you use trim? Really good question. I use trim when I have to use or to share my gain with another user. This is what I use them for. Usually when I'm doing monitor or front of house, because I'm doing both regularly, I set the gain on the channel to get a minus 18 dB VU. So what we're getting now is really close to what we want to have. I'm speaking into the microphone to around minus 18. It's giving me plenty of energy to deal with compression, with gating, because if you don't have enough energy and you try to gate and stuff, it doesn't make any sense. Try get good gain level, get loud gain level. When I mean good gain level, it's not the number here. It doesn't matter what number you have here. It's how much VU you get from the device that from the microphone that you get or whatever. Get that in good. Get a solid minus 18 dB. Sometimes it can go higher. It's fine. As long as you don't clip, but get your average level to be at minus 18 dB. After that, if you mixing front of house or monitor and you share gain and you seem to have too much, you can turn the trim down or the trim up if you want to have more. When you turn the trim up, be reminded that it will introduce digital gain. Digital gain can increase noise. Not really something that we want to add to the signal, but most of the time I'm using my trim to trim down on some stuff. Mostly when I'm doing front of house. I like to mix with my fader at 0 dB. Something like that. So when sometime my fader at 0 dB is way too loud for what I want to have in the room, I use the trim. I trim that down if needed. After that, on the wing, we have the send to the main. So sometimes I leave my fader here and I just drop that. Just drop that into the main send. Or another option would be, let's say that I'm running out of gain. Okay. What we don't want to do is running out of gain and have to crank the trim up to get some good level. Sometimes we have to, but most of the time we try to avoid this. This is also another situation where you would change the gain or use the gain as a control knob instead of using the trim versus the gain. Anyhow, Tommy said, what's the difference between gain and trim? Interesting question. The gain is controlling the physical microphone preamp that you have at the other end. Could be the one in the back of the console, could be a DL32, S32, DL251. You have physical preamp that you're changing the response of with the gain. The trim, it's digital plus or minus. The gain is making physically the microphone preamp work differently. It's changing the resistance and the way that the microphone preamp is bringing in sound. Trim is just gonna take whatever that once you set your mic preamp to a certain level, the trim is just gonna affect plus or minus 18, I believe. The trim is just gonna add or reduce digitally the gain by plus or minus 18. So I would suggest you to use your mic pre gain first. After that, if you need to do some adjustment, trim is another option. But what happened when you use an external mic pre like the DL32? Well, it's exactly the same thing as using the local preamp. You're controlling the preamp of that box with this knob, but you're physically changing the preamp. Let me bring you to something that I'm 100% sure of. When you work with Yamaha console, the way that the microphone preamp are designed on these console is they have a 3-step pad resistance on those preamp, meaning that if the gain is all the way down, the console or the physical preamp is in pad step number 3. You turn the gain all the way up. On Yamaha, I believe, is once you reach 18 dB, you're gonna hear a physical click next to that preamp. It's a relay. It's a physical change in the microphone preamp that will flip. So the console will have a range of, let's say, minus 18, plus 18 to minus 6. Once you reach a certain point on that preamp, it flips. It's changing the physical path on the preamp to get more gain. The console compensate with digital gain. It's reducing your gain. It's digitally reducing the level coming in. After that, you reach another step on the preamp, and again, you hear another click. It's physically changing the signal, the input signal on that microphone preamp, and again, it's also boosting. After that, I believe it boosts the gain until you reach the level that you want. So basically, this is it. Gain is affecting the physical preamp. I believe the steps in the blue box and on the wing is 2.5 dB instead of like Yamaha being only 3 steps. I believe the physical step on the Midas preamp is 2.5 dB. So every time you go 2.5 dB, click, it changed the physical path inside the preamp itself. So it's adding more and more gain depending on the pad that you take on the preamp. So this is how you get good level. Okay. Balance. Balance is what we're talking about. Balance. There's a pan. Are we talking about pan that is also referred to balance? Let me know. Let me know. Trim on the X32 is different. Yes, because the X32 versus the wing. On the X32, you have the same 45 dB of gain here, and after that, after you reach 45 dB on the X32, it doesn't tell you, but it's turning the trim up like a one continuous operation instead of basically after 45 dB. The design of those preamp is made to increase by 45 dB. After that, the console is just adding digital gain until you reach 60, I believe. I know it's been a long time since I used a M32 preamp maxed out. Dance of a dream. Gotta run. See you guys soon. Hey, see you next week. Not you guys. You guys stick around with me. But Don, you got to go. See you next week. It's gonna be fun to have you back around here. You always have some good questions, man. Keep them coming. What's going on? What do you use your AS50 stand for? Usually they are connected to in-ear monitors or monitor or just signal that I send out to musician and my main out, of course. This is how I use my output of my AS50 box. My AS50 is I'm using a DL251 stage box. So, like Don just said, the DL251 sounds really good. Yes, it does. So basically, yeah, I use my physical output from my stage box over the AS50. This is why it's done. What's going on in the chat? What did I miss? Interesting point here from Andy. With the gain, you are still on the analog side of the preamp, and with the trim, you are on the digital side of the preamp. This is true. The gain will set the analog input, if I didn't mention it correctly, and the pad on the gain on the not on the gain. The pad on the mic preamp will change, so you get more and more gain. After that, yes, you are in the digital, you are in the converted signal part of the chain, and it will add trim there. Yeah, totally true. Show me how to set up an acoustic guitar on a channel. I'm physically connected to an XLR in the Midas DLT, but need setting up on the wing. I don't know, man. How is that guitar sounding? I'm gonna guess you're using a DI here, but I like to use on my acoustic guitar. I'm using a. Can I have? Sometimes I put a little gate because I don't want my acoustic to ring out when he's not playing. So I have a little gate on it, little EQ that could look something like this. I try to cut the. Hold on, you guys don't see it. Okay. I have a little gate, sometime, expander, just so it's cutting out on that. After that, EQ, low cut between 80 and 120 on a guitar as a starting point. Sometimes you need to drop it down all the way. And I like to cut down a little bit on the high frequency because sometimes the piezo pickup is really, really bright and it's only picking up the sound of the pick, so you don't want to have that. After that, compression. I like this one. I make sure that I get a couple dB compression and insert. I love to have the body res on some of that stuff. So body res is a good option for me to use. And yeah, I make sure that I get a good level coming in. Make sure that I have my good 18 dB VU going as an average per the player. After that, enjoy that. You can do sometimes also what I like to do is having the body res first or after the EQ, but before the compression, I like to change my signal chain around. This is something that I do from time to time, and I make sure to tap the body res into the guitar, into the send back into that musician if I have that on. So usually they like it. Basically, this is how I set up an acoustic guitar. What else? What's going on here? Are you familiar with the DP48s? I never saw one. I saw a couple video about it, but I never saw one physically. I just use in-ear monitor and iPhone with most of that band that I'm touring with. So, So I got a guest musician who wants to play acoustics. How do I add him on the mixer if I don't have an acoustic channel set up? Well, you build yourself an acoustic channel setup. That's it. Add another channel, add a source, and you're good to go, my friend. Start with what I show you as a starting point and make it sound good. This is the thing. I as much as I would like to give you guys all the answer that you want, this is an interaction with a musician. We're not, it's not one preset fits all, because if it were, there would be no sound guy. We would use computer, and computer cannot analyze what a good acoustic guitar sound like, or how a musician interact with an acoustic guitar, and how you have to mix it. This is on your end as a sound engineer. I'm sorry to say this, but you need to develop your skill. You need to work on hearing things. You need to work on hearing compression, hearing EQs, and that's about it. You will have to learn on your own after that. I can give you some hint, like on the, like having the little body rest, having that on is going to help you get better results sometimes. Play around with how much you want of it, but who knows? It's not a one setup for all. It's not going to work all the time. You need to experiment, and you need to learn how to build your channel for your bands. How many source can you program to use for selecting channel input? Sorry, Pancho, I'm not sure I'm following here. How many source can you program to use for selecting an input channel? What? Okay, this is the part where I ask you guys, please, if you are still here with us, give this video a like. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. If you write down in the chat, you have to be subscribed. So thank you very much for doing so. If you join in, if you want to support me a little bit in what I do, and want to have your name in green in the chat like all the other people who are member of the channel, please consider joining as a member to support what we do here. I need money to buy lights, to buy coffee, and to keep going with this. And seriously, if you want to support me in what I do, I appreciate it. If you cannot afford it, if you don't have time, money, or whatever, you're too young, you're on a budget, you're more than welcome to be here with me every Monday so I can ask your question live. But if you have it, if you have it or not. If you have it, welcome as I can welcome you as a member, and I would appreciate it. Thank you very much, all my members. Guys, you are the best crowd. Everybody who is subscribed to the channel, this community is great. We're doing great. We're giving out so much information about the console. You guys asking me stuff, me asking you stuff. We both learn. When I say both, I mean me and the community and all of you guys. Thank you very much for being here. Okay, enough with the sentimental part of that live stream. Let's go back to your question. I'm not sure to understand what you're talking about, Pancho. You can set up source but not use them, right? Yes, actually, yeah. Okay, I think I just understand. You can, when you are prepping up source, say here, you can name everything. You can set them up. You can even set your gain for these channel and not use them at all. You can set up everything here. Name them, give it, if you have some gain on it, you can gain them. You can set up the 374 sources. Yes, thank you, Andy. You can set up all these sources and just use the one that you want to have, and you can even change them during a show if you want to. So, yeah. So the body res doesn't give you feedback issue when using it back to your monitor on acoustics. So far, no. I'll be honest and say that most of the band or people that I work with, I strongly recommend them to use in-ear monitor to cut down on the stage volume, to cut down on their ear volume, and to cut down on feedback. Let's be honest. So, yeah, it worked. I remember doing it a long time ago. On a single occasion, and it worked just fine, but I had a really good acoustic guitar and a really good player, and he was not taking it that loud into the monitor, so yeah. to avoid that, use in-ear. Do you use the wing with a DAW? I use it sometime with Logic. When I'm mixing into Logic, most of the time I just don't use the console as a control surface. I know a lot of people out there are using it as a studio interface. I've built a studio. I helped somebody to build a studio and to set up his wing to work into a studio, not really as a live, not using the preamp in the back. He was using DL32s in a different room, and he was mostly flipping between phew. For a second, I thought I would push my mug out of the table, out of the console, but no. But yeah, the DAW mode is cool, but this is not something that I'm using. I'm seeing the console from a live sound engineer perspective. This is how I've been making my living for the last 20 years. Or I've been mixing band for 20 years, making a living, let's say 15. Because I start when I was 15 to mix band. And I'm 35, so make the math. But I graduated from tech school in 2007. So it's been 15 years. Ambient mic for live gig, mainly for in-ear monitor to give them feel of the space. What they usually use. I don't use crowd mic that much, but when I do, I use shotgun mic. Doesn't really matter the brand or something, because it's not that important of a setup. What really matter though is to have shotgun mics, because for some reason, I had that conversation with another sound engineer a long time ago. Shotgun mics into in-ears, when you have them really on each side of the stage pointing at the back of the crowd, they give you the perception of depth. If you're just using condenser, it's gonna work, but if you use like shotgun microphone that has a really, really tight pattern, you're gonna hear a lot of people, but you also hearing the back of the room, and it's give you like a bigger feel for some reason. And I have like a pair of old shotgun mic that I paid way too much for a long time ago, and I just use them. I just use them. They work just fine. So any good, if you have like Sennheiser, MKH, something, sure. If you have like good NTG1 from Rode, that would do it, but make sure to use shotgun mic if you want to have them on your recording, or doing in-ear monitor live. Oh, okay, coffee, huh? Make your digestive system go. Ooh, sorry for the burp. How many output mixes does it have? Like, I want to do 20 monitor mix. On the wing, you could do 16 bus of monitor feed and 4 main out. If you are only doing monitor mix, what you could do is use your 16 bus and your 4 main out as post fader send. Set all your fader to 0, don't touch them, and use the 4 main out and the 16 buses for monitor feed. You can get away with 16 different mixes, but if you have enough physical output, all those 20 bus send could be stereo. So you can, if you want to have 20 stereo in-ear mixes, you can have them. The only drawback would be on the main. I think you cannot pan per input. No. If you were to do this, your 4 main mix that you would use for monitor out, you would have to pan them together. It's not a per send pan. They would all be, left, right. You can get away with it, honestly. And if you are doing mono, it doesn't matter. But if you are doing stereo in-ear, you can do 20 stereo in-ear, or you can do 20 mono wedge with the console, with the workaround of having everything post fader and doing per bus. You know, you would have to come here, set your send level for each channel here, or using send on fader, but visually it's more interesting for you, and you send, you know, main 1 2 3 4. That will work. That will work. Yeah, you can do 20 monitor mix with it. It's the limit of the console. You can probably squeeze another mix somewhere, maybe or maybe not. But honestly, if you're doing 20 different monitor mix, mono, and that's a lot. Let's just say that's a lot for a mixer of this price point. And also keep in mind that if you're doing this, you don't have any more bus for reverb. You would need to assign reverb on, insert some reverb on some stuff, but that's a lot. And like Andy just said, when you have no more monitor mix, just use DP48, and you can send 48 channel to every person that has a DP48, and just daisy chain them together, and you have an unlimited, basically, amount of mixes that you can do. But that's a lot. Seriously, I would not, like, if I'm on big enough of a show that I have 20 different monitor mix to do, or 20 different in-ear mixes to do, I would ask for something bigger than a wing. I could get away with it, but I would ask for something bigger. And that's a lot of, seriously, that's a lot. Like, I've never done, the most that I'm doing, or the most that I've ever did for real, was doing 13 mix on a gig. I was doing stereo mixes for 9 musicians and singers. I had 1 mix for the band gear, that's 10, a pair of side field in case somebody's in-ear were dropping out, and I had somebody else from the production who had a wireless mix so they could hear when they were backstage what was going on. So, do I miss anything? That's about it. That's a lot, and that's a lot of mixes to deal. Honestly, as a single person doing that many mix, I had to have some people in the band on their phone or iPad. I was using a Pro 2 back then to do that, and I had some people on iPad to mix themselves, because just dealing with the 5 lead singer on 5 stereo in-ear mixes, that was enough of a job during a show. Because everybody, drop me this, push this, drop this. Every song, 5 people coming at you, like asking you stuff like that. It's a lot to deal with. So 20 mix, good luck. You can hook 2 wings together to get 80 channel. Yeah. Could you? Yeah, you could do it. You could daisy chain them together and having like 2 board using the same input. You're basically doing a sound check with one. You take that file, bring that over to the other one, and you build. But get something else at that point. Rent a Pro X. Yeah, the Heritage Air is gonna have 96 bus, stereo or mono bus. Really interesting. Yeah, it really is. Most people had the app. Okay, mono. Okay, 96 mono bus, but that's still like 48 stereo mix. That's enough. Okay, well, that answered your question. Guys, we've been going at this for almost 2 hours. You guys want to keep going, or should we call it a day? It's up to you. It's not up to me. I have some stuff to do this afternoon, but I don't mind waiting a couple more minutes. So it's always your call if the show is done or not. And I hope you guys learned something today. I don't say it enough. I repeat a lot of stuff, but I hope you guys enjoy what we're doing here and learn. And everybody who's watching in playback, I hope you guys see something that you like. And okay, Neve, you have to go. Thank you, DJ. Okay, I'm gonna call it a day, guys. We've been going for almost 2 hours. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to you guys. Always a pleasure to have you guys around asking me questions. I wait my whole week sometimes for the next Monday because I'm having so much fun with you guys and I'm learning so much. So guys, on that note, I don't know which one it is because I don't have perfect pitch, but on that note, we're gonna call it a day and say thank you very much for being here. Until the next one, I want you, please, to take care of yourself, and I see you guys next Monday, or maybe before that, in another video. See ya!